NFL free agency is right around the corner, and there are some moves that might wind up shocking you. Let's go over some of the ones that we think are about to come true. In just a few short weeks, we're going to see a lot of big name players get signed, some trades go down, and it does not always go down as we expect. Chris, give me a shocking prediction that you have for free agency.
Well, my first shocking prediction is that Saquon Barkley returns to the Giants, and you're probably saying that's not shocking. That's probably what's going to happen. But he's going to return to the Giants under the franchise tag because we just got franchise tag numbers released, and running back franchise tag is only $10.1 million next year. That is probably far below what Saquon Barkley would command in the open market, probably far below what he's going to want to get paid. But I think the Giants are going to go that route so that they can pay Daniel Jones. And that is going to lead to Saquon Barkley not being happy and potentially holding out early in the season. Yes, I think that's what we're going to see. We're going to see the franchise tag being slapped on Saquon Barkley and Saquon Barkley threatening to hold out. I don't think it's going to be happy times in New York for the Giants and for Saquon Barkley, and for good reason, because he should not be playing under a terrible franchise tag like that. But I think it's going to happen because it makes sense for the Giants. So stay tuned. We shall see.
Now, I'm actually going to stick with the Giants. As it turns out, right now, we know that the salary cap for the NFL is growing. It's going to be one of the biggest numbers ever, and the Giants are going to be one of the main beneficiaries. Right now, they have the fourth most cap space. They're going to spend it, and I think they're going to go after a guy that is just coming off the franchise tag himself, and that is Dalton Schultz, tight end for the Cowboys right there inside the division. We know that this team is going to want more playmakers, and whether they have Barkley or not, they need some help at receiver, and they did find some guys who stepped up late in the year, but they need more. Let's face it. I think a tight end makes a lot of sense because if they do keep Daniel Jones, another guy who could be free agent, we don't know if they'll pay to keep him or not. I think they probably will. They'll stick with what they got. Dayball, at their head coach, can make any quarterback look good, apparently. I think they're going to want a nice safety blanket there for Daniel Jones. They're going to want a good target there at tight end. And I think the Cowboys are going to let Schultz go because, they didn't pay up for a long-term deal to keep him in the first place. And also, I think they have some moves that they need to make. Amari Cooper was let walk because of money. They're really not going to pay up to keep a tight end, are they? They have some pieces in place. And the guy we talked about in a video not that long ago, Jake Ferguson, who could be the next version of Dalton Schultz. So I think the Giants will be willing to spend up money that the Cowboys won't. I think Schultz will fit in there in Dayball's system. And he could be somebody who even sees an uptick in targets next year. All right, shock me again. What's another prediction you think will come true in free agency?
Well, let's stick with the Giants because you talked about that cap space. I think they use it to go out and get a true alpha wide receiver, and that is DeAndre Hopkins. I think the Giants pull the trigger and trade for DeAndre Hopkins while they have this window to win. I think he'd be a great compliment if they do, like you said, sign Dalton Schultz. Having a tandem of DeAndre Hopkins, Saquon Barkley, and Dalton Schultz suddenly makes this offense dangerous, something they did not have last season. So I think DeAndre Hopkins gets traded, and it's to the Giants, and he becomes their number one wide receiver and helps put this offense over the hump.
One of the teams that is linked possibly to Hopkins, a team that definitely needs help at receiver, is the Tennessee Titans. I don't think they go after Hopkins. You know what? I think they pull a deal to get a disgruntled but talented young receiver who isn't really going to cost much money in Elijah Moore. Now, Elijah Moore, was a puzzle all year long. We just, what happened? Why is he not getting targeted? At all. There were games where he really didn't even get a single look. Well, we're kind of hearing a little bit here and there why he wasn't targeted. Well, he doesn't really, wasn't a fan of their offense coordinator, Mike LaFleur, and he's out. But maybe it wasn't just the OC that was the problem. Moore is a guy who's, of course, taken to social media, didn't like Zach Wilson, didn't like much of anything. Now we're hearing maybe he's just disgruntled in general. You kind of don't blame him, but at the same time, you kind of just have to say, dude, keep it shut, do your job, be a pro. he maybe can't handle being in New York, maybe just doesn't like the situation overall. I think this is a team that obviously is going to reboot next year. They have pieces in place. They already have a stud receiver, Garrett Wilson. I think they might be willing to clear him out and move him and maybe send him to a team like Tennessee that is willing to take on that risk. And by risk, I don't mean money in this case. I mean risk in the sense of possible personality issue here. But Mike Vrabel is a coach, disciple of Bill Belichick. I think he feels like he can keep him in line. They have Rob Moore as wide receiver coach, former NFL receiver, quality receiver there. He's been able to do good things with the guys they have. They need talent. This is a team that is going to be saying goodbye to Robert Woods most likely. I think it makes sense in this situation. So I could see it happening. All right, let's keep going. What else you got?
Well, I'm done with the Giants, but let's move over to the Bengals. I think running back Joe Mixon gets released this offseason. First of all, releasing Joe Mixon would save up over $7 million of cap space for the Bengals. Joe Burrow is on his rookie contract, but this is the first year he's eligible for an extension. I think they're going to want to get this extension done. They're going to need money to pay him, but not only down the road, next year they're going to need money to pay T. Higgins, and the year after they're going to need money to pay Jamar Chase. And Joe Mixon getting up there in age, his efficiency plummeted this year. And what did we see in the conference championship game? He almost got doubled in snaps by Samaje Perine. I mean, do they really need Joe Mixon at this point? Do they feel like they need to pay him all this money? I don't think they do. I think they go a different route. Maybe they draft a running back on a rookie deal, like a second round, third round running back that they can just put on a rookie deal. I think Joe Mixon gets cut to make room for the Joe Burrow extension.
All right, here's a deal that I know some people think is kind of already a done deal. It's not. We have no idea what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. It makes too much sense that he's going to get traded. He seems to think he's already on his way out, and he doesn't have any clause where he can't be traded. You know, they're going to kind of want to make him happy. You know, they don't want to keep him in the NFC. So, of course, what makes the most sense? It's the Jets. I mean, I can almost envision him already in the Jets uniform. This is a team that just needs a quarterback. That defense was really good. They have, assuming Breece Hall comes back to full health, a stud running back. They have a stud wideout in Garrett Wilson. They just need a quarterback who won't make mistakes. Enter Aaron Rodgers. Now, would Aaron Rodgers want to go to the Jets? Again, it really doesn't necessarily matter, but why wouldn't he? He's used to the cold weather. He's used to the media and the fans and all that. I don't think New York would bother him at all going from Green Bay. And you'd think if he's sticking around for another year, he wants to be on a team that he thinks has a shot to win. This seems like the logical fit. So Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets. We've already heard that Jets owner Woody Johnson is willing to give up what it takes to get him. Let's just get this done already and make it happen. So would it be shocking if it happens? No, to me, it's almost going to be a shock if it doesn't happen. There are a lot of scenarios still out there, but I think Rodgers to the Jets is pretty much a done deal. All right, what else do you feel like is going to happen?
I feel like we're going to see Alexander Mattison on the Chargers next year. If you recall, during the offseason last year, there was some talk that the Vikings were looking to trade Alexander Mattison. And one of the teams most interested in him were the Chargers because Brandon Staley has ties to Alexander Mattison. He coached him. He's played a lot against him. He talks very highly of Alexander Mattison. Now, the asking price was just too high. They couldn't trade a third or a fourth round pick for a running back. But now he's a free agent. Now they can sign him, and he's not going to command top dollar. He's not going to be one of the higher end free agent running backs. The Chargers absolutely need to improve this running game. For as good as Austin Eckler is in fantasy, he hasn't been very good in real life when it comes to running the ball. He's great in the passing game, sure, but he hasn't been a highly efficient runner. They need somebody who can take that pressure off of Austin Eckler, help this running game, help pick up those short yardage first downs when they need them. I think they go out, they sign Alexander Mattison, a guy they were trying to trade for last year anyways. Why not go get him now in the offseason when you can get him without giving up draft capital? Alexander Mattison is a Charger in 2023.
Now back to quarterback, position that definitely matters. What is Tampa Bay going to do? They need a quarterback somewhere. Who do they have in-house? Blaine Gabbert? I think they drafted Kyle Trask a couple years ago. Is he still there? look, they're going to have to get somebody. And you would have said, hey, Jimmy G, that makes sense. Well, now it looks like they need Jimmy G because Brock Purdy might be out. Trey Lance is on the trade market. It's a disaster there in San Francisco. But right now, you know what the logical pick is? Believe it or not, how about a reunion with Jameis Winston? Forgot about him. He pretty much just languished away there in New Orleans, wasn't used. Yeah, he was hurt, but then they kind of just forgot about him. They said, nah, we're good with Andy Dalton. And they seem to be okay with either Andy Dalton or whatever scraps they pick up off free agency. And Winston's contract has really made it so there is no incentive for them to keep him because he's not wanted there. Why doesn't Tampa Bay get Winston back? And you might have heard right now talking to Todd Monken as OC, the guy who was there in Tampa Bay back when Winston was there, has the playmakers, has the experience, when healthy, still a quality quarterback. I mean, wouldn't you be excited if Jameis Winston went back to Tampa, throwing to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin? So why not give Winston another go? Now you have our predictions for free agency. And what about some predictions for who might boom, bust, and break out next season? Check out this video right here.